in Chicago, we don't actually focus on trying to become a smart city. We really focus on becoming a responsive city and look for ways for city government to actually deliver the services our residents and our businesses need in new, innovative, and responsive ways. So we're investing in new technologies and connected technologies because we have less resources than we did just a few years ago or even yesterday, but the needs of our constituents are growing, and one of the ways to close that gap is through a smart use of technology. So actually the sky's the limit. We're looking at using connected technologies to improve almost all city services. So certainly there's a huge impact on our infrastructure, how we get ready for driverless cars, how we become more predictive and proactive in large infrastructure investments, in our trains and in our buses, and become more demand-driven in providing those services. But there's a role for connected technologies to play in the health and human services space as well, and how we tackle the problem of homelessness and really use analytics and technology to understand that population, to address their needs, and bring new solutions to those spaces as well. So that justification can be a challenge. That's a really good question around the budget. We always start with the value proposition of what we'll be able to deliver to the residents of the city. So what's the value of the technological implementation? We always start with a business problem. We develop a business plan and a value proposition from there, and the budget wraps around that story. You know, I think the biggest challenge is they never reside in the technology. They reside in building the stakeholder buy-in and communicating what can be some complicated implementation approaches to both my stakeholders within city government, you know, the mayor, the chief of staff, the aldermen, and building stakeholder buy-in from our residents as well, and how you deliver messages to them in a way that they can understand what the impact will be to their lives. So I think our biggest challenge is that stakeholder management and how we address those issues around the implication of technologies to the lives of our residents, like privacy and security and equality. The Array of Things is a first of a kind in the world. It is an urban scale sensor platform. So it's multiple sensors in each node, about the size of a large shoebox. They're installed on traffic poles. We have about 20 of them up now in Chicago. There'll be 500 by 2018. It's a partnership with Argonne National Laboratory and the University of Chicago. And this is a research-driven project. We'll be collecting very micro-level data about the city of Chicago's environment, its activities, and its infrastructure. So we're not interested in what any of our individual residents are doing, but we are interested in as much as we can find out, as I said, about our environment. So air quality is a big topic. Weather patterns, certainly important. Traffic, vehicular, bike, and pedestrian traffic are something we also want to understand better, as well as road conditions and how those change throughout the year and interact with weather patterns as well. All the data will be open source, and there's partnerships with other cities built in as well. There'll be other cities in the US, in Europe, and beyond receiving identical sensor nodes as well in the next couple of months, so we'll be able to benchmark data. I think what's really exciting about this is the open source, open data components of the project. I mean, there's certainly exciting hardware and software aspects of it because we've developed some very interesting components from that perspective. But because of the open source and open data aspects of it, it creates an incredibly vibrant innovation ecosystem. So I know that within government, I'll be using the data to look at things like understanding air quality and its implications to urban asthma pockets. We'll be using the data about vehicles to try and drive down crashes and intersections between cars and pedestrians. So we have plans for the data as well. What I'm most excited about is the things that our civic tech community, that our residents and community groups, and even researchers from across the globe are going to do with that data that we haven't even thought of. So that innovation ecosystem is the most exciting aspect of the Array of Things project.